Hello, and we're back again. I'm Patrick, your friendly neighborhood fingerstyle guitarist, and I want to welcome you to my space where I talk about solo guitar, its players, and its culture. And if you like the content good enough, of course, you can always hit the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Now, this week I want to talk about the hard-to-tackle subject of guitar prodigies. And I say hard to tackle simply because there are people out there who seem to completely endorse guitar prodigies or dismiss them completely. And me being more of a gray area type of guy, I'm not so quick to do either one. Rather, I want to make people aware that most of us are, in fact, in slack-jawed amazement at some of these young musical heroes that can accomplish so much at such a young age. There are people that actually quit their instruments because they feel discouraged or intimidated by prodigies, because they feel like they will never be able to reach that level of talent or match that level of musical precision. And to me, that's very disheartening, and that's one of the main reasons why I decided to do this video. But I want to be the one to tell you that there are all kinds of advantages to actually not being a prodigy. Now, stick with me here, because I know what it sounds like, that I'm secretly jealous or that I'm trying hard to make us non-prodigies feel better. But that's not really what I'm after here. I just want to make people understand that at the end of the day, it's not where you start, it's where you end up that really counts. Let's cut straight to the obvious. Most of us did not grow up guitar prodigies. I myself started playing around age 10, but was stuck on the same 5 chords until I entered high school and started taking things more seriously. I took 4 years worth of classical lessons, about a year's worth of jazz studies, consumed everything I could, went to impromptu jam sessions, and started writing songs. At age 21, I got smitten by the fingerstyle bug and have never looked back since. And that journey has taken me to some great places, to be sure. But somewhere around that time, the age of YouTube appeared, and there emerged a new kind of guitar player, much different than the guys I grew up listening to. These were young guitar slingers that had these jaw-dropping techniques, and before I knew it, there was a prodigy on every corner. Learning guitar over the internet has skyrocketed kids' abilities to learn in recent years. And learning guitar or any instrument has never been easier or more convenient. All the secrets that were considered like the holy grail when I was a kid are now available at every turn. And while that's certainly great on one level, it's not so great on another. So before I continue, I want to make it clear that there is nothing wrong with learning guitar over the internet or being a prodigy. I certainly think it's great when a kid picks up an instrument and learns to be very proficient at a young age. But just because you're technically proficient on an instrument at a young age guarantees you no success in the music business or even a career. There are some prodigies who burn out after several years and never even pick up their instrument again, and this I find quite tragic. Again, I want to be careful with what I say here because I don't want to sound like I'm putting down people's talent, but the point needs to be made that there are definitely advantages to not being a prodigy, and one of them is time. Most of us grew up with time to speculate about what we wanted to do with our lives, and we experimented with different hobbies and interests. There were no expectations put upon me as a kid to drive to recitals or win competitions. And I understand that this doesn't define every prodigy, and not every prodigy has those expectations. But there are definitely the ones who do, and for the ones who do, it can cause extra anxiety, stress, and even disillusionment. Another pitfall to being a prodigy is that while young musicians are certainly capable of playing other people's music note for note, I have yet to hear a prodigy that has their own sound and their own unique style. There might be a few exceptions, but to me, developing one's true musical identity is the ultimate artistic achievement, and that can take years to develop. This seems to escape most young people who have exceptional talent. I have yet to hear one song written by a prodigy that has brought me to tears. But who am I to judge? Maybe there is somewhere. My point is that most youngsters who are gifted are just that, gifted, not fully developed artists. And that's okay, because they're still young, they're still in development, and at that age, the playing aspect is in fact the most important because, as I said, creating one's true musical identity is something that takes time. What makes a great artist isn't how good you were at a certain age. It's life experience that makes your music what it is. And it gives each artist a truly unique flavor. And when you're that young, your life experience is going to be very limited. What really matters in the music business is where you end up, not where you started. Sure, there are musical prodigies out there who ended up making it big, like Michael Jackson, Prince, Stevie Wonder, Mozart, Beethoven, Martha Argerich, and Joe Bonamassa, just to name a few. But when you start thinking about some of the world's greatest musicians, they were not prodigies, including Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Alan Holdsworth, Neil Peart, Chick Corea, and even fingerstyle guitarists like Michael Hedges and Leo Kaki. My favorite jazz guitar player, Wes Montgomery, didn't start playing until age 20. The legendary blues player T. Model Ford didn't even pick up a guitar until he was 60 years old and had a career playing well into his 90s. No joke, go look it up. The point is, you're eventually going to have to decide what makes a bigger impact on the world. A child who has memorized all of Paganini's Caprices, or somebody like Bob Dylan who made musical history with just a few chords. So the next time you see a prodigy ripping it up on guitar on YouTube or elsewhere, just remember it's only a small fraction of a much larger picture. Being a prodigy is kind of like having perfect pitch or an enormous IQ. It's no more significant than having a hood ornament on the front of your car. It's nice to have, but it doesn't mean a damn thing if that car doesn't go anywhere and just sits in the garage. And once again, I'm not saying these things to put down prodigies. In fact, I'm glad that they exist because they can give people inspiration, and you can't go wrong with a kid who's obsessed with music. After all, for the most part, it keeps them out of trouble, and they can appreciate different cultures and learn to tolerate people who are different than they are. I say all of this because I want to give people who have never been prodigies hope that they can be just as good, even if they have to take a different route to get there. There are prodigies who will never make great artists. There are great artists who were never prodigies. There are great entertainers who will never make great songwriters. There are great songwriters who will never be great entertainers. That's just the way life is. The music industry is a constant overlapping of different talents, of people with different ages, starting in all kinds of different places. All in all, it's like I've always said, success in music isn't about where you come from, it's about where you're going.